friends, welcome to my channel. I'm AmandaMuse, and today we're going to be talking about mental health. That might be triggering for some. I'm also going to be talking about medication because guess what? That is the reality for a lot of people. And just like fast forward a bit, I'm feeling pretty awesome, and I want to share my experience because I think that I know that there's a lot of stigma around mental health. And I'm going to talk about it with you today. My personal experience, sharing my heart, sharing my vulnerability, because that's what I do maybe best. So let's get on with it. I'm AmandaMuse. I am a mom of two. I am 37. I am the sole income provider right now for my family because the pandemic is kicking me in the pants. My husband is a pilot on furlough, and aviation in Canada is still, it's not returned to normal. And so we're just in that like small group of people whose lives have not returned to normal. It's heavy. It is heavy. If you have followed me for any length of time, this comes as no surprise because I share my life pretty transparently with my audience. And ever since March of 2020, our lives just did like a real shift. Whose didn't? I think even people's lives who've changed in the minuscule, a change has still happened, and that's going to impact us. Without telling you my entire life story, because folks, it's on the internet. I've been sharing my life since 2012. And I noticed specifically that after having lived overseas in a beautiful, hot, sunny climate for many years, I had both my kids in Malaysia. When I came back, I noticed that I was getting more and more impacted by seasonal depression. I was never formally diagnosed, but I just started noticing the symptoms. And so as we led up to the fall each year, I just got a little bit better and a little bit more proactive. I would start taking more vitamin D. I would added light therapy to my life a few years ago. Even my alarm clock is one of those slow to wake up like sunshine clocks. It's just, I'm starting to realize like how important that is. I then, really started to make exercise a way of life for me because I know that my mind feels better when my body is moving. And if I'm not really into fitness for whatever reason, I try to at least move my body by going for a walk. I also have been doing talk therapy for many years, and for some reason over the pandemic, well, not for some reason, because everything shut down, I didn't quite know how to do talk therapy virtually. But really, it's just like talk therapy in person. Well, not just like, it's not as great. I make a point to have a session once a month with my therapist, and I'm able to work through things, and I feel like it's a little bit of a reset button. And I make all of this a priority because I know that in order for me to be fully functioning as a woman, a partner, a wife, and an entrepreneur, my brain needs to be working with me, not against me. Fully transparent, there is some mental health stuff in my family history with my immediate family, and I'm just hyper aware of the slightest change in my demeanor, my feelings, my personality, that I don't ever want to let myself sink too low because I've seen the damage that can do, and I just refuse to let that happen for my family. And so with the pandemic, with job loss, with the pressure of being a sole income provider in a gig economy as a content creator, then I got skin cancer, which has been resolved. Then my dad got cancer, which, by the way, he's cancer-free. Best news ever. It was just like, oh my gosh. I had my panic attacks come back full swing. I had experienced panic attacks a few years ago, like many years ago, and then they just came back with a vengeance. And it was like, oh, that was a panic attack, I think. And then, oh, I think that was another panic attack. And then I was like, I don't want to go to bed because I'm going to get another panic attack. And I tend to get them when I'm asleep as my body chooses to rest and my mind relaxes. All of a sudden, the scaries find me. Those anxious feelings find me, and just my brain gets tricked, right? So after some consideration, after doing all the things I know help with anxiety, I finally spoke to my family doctor, and I was like, at what point does a person consider taking a daily medication or a medication to help with anxiety attacks and panic attacks? And she said, you know, she goes, it's time to consider it when your day-to-day life is impacted. Creatively, I was dipping, and in order for me to work, I need to be creative. So I was feeling a lot of stress in that department, and then the panic was just too much. And so I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and I was prescribed an antidepressant, and I started a treatment journey. So it begins with a half dose for about 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and then I increase it to my full dosage. Over the next series of clips, I'm going to show you what that looked like. It was a little groggy to start, but I was still able to function. I was still working. I just found myself yawning. And as I say yawning, I feel like I have to yawn. So let me share with you what these first few weeks looked like. It's like 4:15 on day 1, and I feel a little like cloudy in my head. I feel really tired. I almost kind of regret taking it today because I have so many things on my to-do list, but the reality is there's always a lot of things on my to-do list, which is why I need to take the medication. You know what I mean? Like, so that's a thing. I feel a little bit nauseous, and I am getting close to dinner time, so it could be just my regular hunger mixed in with like trying to take a new medication. But anyway, I'm just tracking this for anybody who might be starting something similar. It's interesting though, like, I feel that little bit of shame that like I have to take a medication. So it's taking like effort for me to not resist trying this new medication, if that makes sense. Because even though we've come leaps and bounds from where we started when we talk about medication, I still feel like I should be able to tackle this, or should be able to handle this better on my own. But I know that it's okay. You know, my body is not producing enough serotonin, and it's showing up in things like high levels of anxiety and panic at nighttime. So I'm sort of like keeping my eye on the prize, like the long-term gains of, you know, being able to go out into the world and do things and come home and not have full-blown panic attacks that knock me out for like 2 or 3 days just from like the panic attack hangover, you know? So day 1, we're doing it. Day 2, I took it at 9 a.m. and I'm going to try to be very consistent with 9 a.m. I'm always awake by 9. Very rarely do I ever sleep past 9, so that should work. And yeah, we'll see how I feel. I slept great. I know that my doctor said I wouldn't have like the positive effects of the pill for quite some time, but I don't know, I was so tired yesterday that I just didn't have the normal anxious feelings when I went to bed, so that's a win, even if it wasn't necessarily related to the pill. But I feel good, and we're gonna do a workout today. And I'm already anticipating a little bit of brain fog because that's sort of how I felt yesterday. It wasn't a headache per se, but I just felt a little foggy. So we'll see how today goes. Day 2 checking in, midday. We're about 3:40, and I'm editing, and I'm hydrating. I actually need to go fill this up with some water. And I always have a coffee around 3 p.m., especially if I'm like at my desk working. I tend to dip. I have a coffee and a cookie. And I noticed today, like I'm aware of it because I'm documenting it for you guys, but I noticed today I feel a little foggy, but not nearly as bad as yesterday. Yesterday I was quite dizzy, and the medication does say that it may cause dizziness. So I'm feeling a little bit better today, which just leads me to believe that my body's starting to like adapt. Yeah, just a little check-in. So I'm getting work done. I'm not having to do anything super creative today. Like today is editing and like really task-based. So that's good. I do feel a little low on energy though. Now, I think that there's a lot of factors that play into that. You know, I did work out this morning. I did get good sleep, but I went to bed a little later, and it's that time of day where I always feel tired. So yeah, little update. And listen, I know that this medication is going to be different for every single person that takes it, but I'm just sharing this because I know that I was really nervous about this part. How would I adapt? What would I feel like? Not exactly sure what day today is, but I'm feeling okay. That foggy kind of feeling. So what are we right now? We're 10:50 in the morning. I took my pill about an hour and a half ago, and I don't have that foggy feeling right now. So I feel like my body is adapting. I do find, maybe this is TMI, so it is what it is. But let me tell you about half an hour after I take that pill, I am in the bathroom. Like my bowels are like, see ya, thanks for participating. I don't know if that's a symptom or what, but I'm regular. And otherwise, like, no other bad symptoms. I noticed last night at dinner, we had gone out for a family dinner and sat on a patio, and I noticed like just towards the end of the meal, it was taking a while to get the meal. It was taking a while to get the bill. I felt like some anxious feelings. But I like really focused on my breathing and it just passed. Now I know my doctor said it can take a while for the like effects, the positive effects of this pill to kick in. So, you know, I was aware of it and I just let it kind of pass away, like move on from me type of thing. But otherwise, no complaints just yet. I'm very tired. I get very tired as the day goes on. So that's something. But anyway, that's where we're at. I think we're day 4 today, I think. So Friday, we're doing it. So we're Saturday today, which means what day are we? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, day 5. It's a rainy day and the pressure is really low, I think Dean was saying. So I have like a headache and an upper back ache. I just feel like I feel pretty lethargic today. Now it's 3:45. I had big plans to like clean my house and clean bathrooms that I just do not have it in me. So here's where I'm at. I have done a workout though. I will say that like I noticed that my energy this week, which normally is quite high, or I would be going into higher energy because my cycle just ended. So menstrual cycles affect women and their energy levels. And so I noticed that like once my period ends, then I like kick into high gear. So this should have been my kick into high gear week. And I'm feeling a little just low energy. Now that said, I've still worked out every day. So today I did a 20-minute cycle on the Peloton. And then I did a 20-minute strength training and then 10 minutes of stretching. So like I busted it. I did my thing, but I just felt like I just didn't quite push it as hard as I normally do, despite still going very hard because it's just my nature. But you know your baseline. So I definitely feel sleepy today. And yeah, that's where I'm at. I got a lot of work done this week. That felt really nice. The weather is going to be pretty crappy for the next few days, and I'm thinking that's going to impact my mood. So I'm trying to be cognizant of that at the same time as obviously trying out this new medication. I've been sleeping well at night. I feel good. I have been sleeping a little long though, so I need to set an alarm. Maybe not for tomorrow morning, but definitely for Monday morning, just to kind of get back into like starting my day at the right time. Because I notice like, since I'm starting my day later, all of a sudden I'm not working out till later and I'm not really starting my day work-wise until like 12:31, which is way late. So anyway, it's the weekend today, so I'm not too worried about that part of things. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Greetings from Tuesday, June 29th. So are we a week now? I think we might be a week on this medication. And today my brain is foggy and, excuse me, I'm not sure what that's about. It just is. It took me a really long time to get through some work I just had to do. Like, I don't know. My brain's a bit foggy, but it could just be that's more of a confidence thing. Sometimes I doubt myself when I'm doing work with brands and I make it more complicated than it needs to be because I want to do a good job, you know? Anyway, so my brain is a bit foggy. Other than that though, I got a great workout in this morning. I was worried that maybe my workouts would be impacted, like maybe my energy would be low, and I think it has been a little lower, but now that we're a week into it, it seems to be balancing out. I'm starting to feel like my normal self. I pushed it really hard the last few days, so I think it's a non-issue. Now, after this week, so next Tuesday, I'll be starting the full dose, which is 10 milligrams. And I'm sure it'll take a couple days to adjust then too. One thing I have noted is that my dreams are super vivid, super detailed. I'm not sure what that's about. Last night was weird. I can't even get into it, doesn't make sense, but very vivid and I remember them. It could be that I'm actually sleeping, which is like wonderful. And so I'm getting a better night's sleep. Because whenever I experience my anxiety and panic tends to come at night. So that's a bonus. I'm sleeping. I'm feeling really sleepy right now for no particular reason. Could be getting hungry. Anyway, it's an interesting experience to track your experience because you don't know exactly, like, is this just real life or is this a result of the medication? So overall, I'm still really happy to be on it. I notice like I'm fighting some shame feelings that I have, that I should be able to not be on this or something, but I'm really working hard at resisting that because it has been a tricky year for me and I have had a really hard time with managing my anxiety, and hey, we all need a little help sometimes. Day 11. And I think that the last few days I didn't record because, not that I think that, I had my second dose for my COVID vaccine and it knocked me out. Whoa, I got like all of the symptoms. I had like the chills, the fever, the whole thing. So evening of the 30th into the 1st into, are we the 2nd now? Yeah, so today I'm feeling like myself again. I don't have any of the pains. My body is doing what it needs to do. So I kind of have to count out any of the symptoms I had over the last 2 days just because it was COVID vaccine related and not related to taking a pill. I did remember to take my pill. Worth noting that I had a huge panic attack as a result of the vaccine. I think there's just a lot of, I have a lot of anxiety around health related things, specifically when it involves me. So if I get sick, if I'm feeling unwell, I go into full panic mode. And that's something that I'm working with my therapist on in order to just feel more centered and in control. Like, my brain doesn't need to go to the worst place, although it does without fail every time. So I was fighting off a panic attack from about 9 p.m. I felt it coming on about 7:30, but 9 p.m. until 5 a.m., 7 a.m. the following day. It was brutal. I was exhausted yesterday just from that panic attack hangover. So that was unpleasant, and obviously because I've only just started taking this medication, it's not in its full effect and helping me to manage all of that anxiety. So I look forward to the day when that, when I have a little bit more of a control, over those feelings. But as of today, I feel good. But as of today, I feel like clear-headed. I feel a little bit lower energy, but I think that's just vaccine related. I woke up with a rather upset stomach. And otherwise, I'm feeling pretty good. No real symptoms to recognize. I know that in a matter of 4 days away, I'll be starting full dose. Yeah, on Tuesday. I'm Friday today. I will be upping my dosage half. So I've been taking half a dose just to kind of ease my way into it. So I anticipate that like next week I might feel a little weird, but it's just kind of one of those things. We kind of have to get through this adapting, transition period in order to get to a place where I'm more regulated and really feeling the effects of the medication. So far so good. One thing I've been doing too is I've been talking about this process. So I've shared a little bit in the vlog that I do. I can link that where I started talking about it. I've also just been sharing with people in my life, my mom, my dad, obviously my family, not so much my kids yet, but I'm sure that will come up. But really just starting to normalize the conversation around times in our lives that we need a little bit of help, and that there's no place for shame and judgment because we don't know what another person's going through. We don't know the journey that they're walking, and we need to have empathy in these moments. And so if we can be confident in our decisions and rid ourselves of the shame, even if we're not quite there yet, because I still have strange conflicting emotions about this whole process, if we start to educate people on the appropriate way to discuss this topic, then people will start to support us appropriately, right? So doing the hard work of really normalizing mental health and discussions around medication and why it's necessary. And if anything, I actually think it was an interesting experience for my dad to see how my anxiety comes on, because he's never really seen it before. But it just, like, I went down quick and my panic attack just took over and I had to go straight to bed. like have a hot bath, straight to bed, and I was having all these symptoms of the COVID vaccine related, but that panic attack was real. So, you know, if anything, people just seeing what you go through doesn't justify it, but allows them to see the experience for themselves. So not shying away from it, you know? It's tough, but it's worth having that conversation. Greetings from week 2, the start of week 3, and today I upped my dose, half a dose. So far, the only symptoms I feel is a little bit like my stomach is a little upset. I find that so far my biggest symptom is like, it makes me a bit sleepy. So now that I've said that, I need to yawn. And it could be the pill. It could also be that we were up early today because my kids are in summer camp this week and it's very busy in the morning getting everybody ready to go. And I'm not used to having everybody awake with me so early. And the other symptom is, yes, I get an upset stomach and I have like, my bowels are like re-emptying like right now. Now that might be strange for me to talk about on the internet, but we are talking about symptoms. And this is not a normal, you know, morning situation for me. So it's, it makes my stomach feel like, ooh, like it just kind of flips. So that's my biggest symptom so far. We'll see how the day progresses. It's my first day on a full pill, so we'll see how today goes. I do feel like a little bit, like I sense my feelings are a little bit different today, but I suspect that is more of my like thoughts on adapting to a medication as much as I am like, yes, this is good for me. Yes, this is what I need right now. There's that other side of my brain that's like, are you sure? Is it bad enough that you need that? Like that doubt that kind of creeps in. And so I find that like I'm just trying to push away those negative thoughts and stay in the present and think about Amanda 2 months from now, who will be, you know, hopefully not experiencing the level of anxiety that I have been and have better control over my rather frequent panic attacks. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not sure what day it is, but we are on now. I have finished 1 full week of being on the full 10 milligram dose. And this is the 2nd day now where I haven't felt like a brain zap or squeeze in the morning right when I wake up. My tummy isn't upset after I take the pill, and I haven't changed my morning routine. So like I wake up, I take the pill right away as I'm pouring myself my first coffee. I take it with some water and then I sit down and drink my coffee. I get a little bit more coffee. I drink more water. So like I'm not rushing to eat breakfast right away. What I've noticed is that my mojo to work out, I felt like it slowed at the start as my body was adjusting to this new medication. Now I'm right back where I was. I work out hard. I pretty much move my body daily. Not always super high intensity. Like sometimes I'll just do yoga or a strength training or something that isn't like this high hit kind of thing. My energy level is there. I don't feel bad. And I guess that's the point. Now I know it's going to take several more weeks for this to really like kick in, but just here's what I'm feeling so far. When I go to bed at the end of the day, I no longer have to hypnotize myself to sleep. So my sleeping habits before weren't terrible, but I would have to listen to ASMR before bed, and I'd wear my Bluetooth headset and I would watch an ASMR video, which is very soothing, very relaxing to those with a very active mind. In fact, there's been some research about ASMR that those who have the reaction to it, which it might be new for you to hear. It's an something response. Oh, I'm not even gonna, anyway, meridian meridian response. It's this really relaxing feeling that comes over your head and your neck, and I don't know. But people who respond to it have high levels of neuroses. I think that's the way you say it. Anyway, so the fact is, I haven't had to watch it. Like I maybe watched it once or twice over the last week, which is huge for me. Like I'm just reading a few pages of my book and then I fall asleep. What? I will tell you though, my dreams are like in vivid color, so detailed. I feel like I could wake up and like write a book or something. Like I'm really dreaming. So that's new. Definitely some sort of symptom of the medication. So that's wild. But I'm sleeping, which is great. And I'm sleeping hard and I'm falling asleep and it's a wonderful feeling. The other morning I had woken up with some very like racing thoughts. I was worried about my finances. I was just worried about our future. You know, my husband has been without a job now for a really long time and it's very stressful to experience that. So I woke up with those like really stressful thoughts. And typically, if I wake up with that kind of active racing mind, and I'm always really hot in the morning because it's summertime, it really like, it'll trip me into a panic attack. And as I was sitting there having these racing thoughts, trying to calm down, I realized, oh wow, I'm not tripping into a panic attack, which is wonderful. So in that moment, I put myself in a different room. I lay down, I put on some ASMR just to relax me because I know I really enjoy it. And I actually fell back asleep. Now for the rest of the day, I had a really bad headache. I think it was just like, it's like I almost had a panic attack, but I didn't. And that was a wonderful feeling. If you experience panic attacks or anxiety attacks, then you know that they can be quite exhausting. It's like you have this hangover from the panic that you've been managing. And it's like, it requires like your whole body to like deal with it or whatever. Anyway, point is it didn't trip me into it and that was amazing. So I feel like it's working. I feel that I'm like coming up to this, like this hill, like I'm doing a little bit of this uphill climb right now where my new baseline, like I'm coming up to a new baseline. So I've been kind of dealing with some anxiety over here and I'm like moving up to this better feeling place and it feels really good. I'm feeling so good that I made the switch and I'll definitely keep you guys posted on how this is impacting my life because we're now yes, I've done 3 weeks now of the medication and I actually just called my doctor today to get, the renewal for the next dose. And it's been really interesting, like talking to my husband about it, talking to my dad about it, talking to my mom about it, like just really sharing how it's been impacting me. I've shared with my friends. I have some friends that are also on a daily prescription like this. And some people in my life have been on it for many, many years. And some of people in my life were on it just for a short time and then were able to come off of the medication and were in a different, headspace mentally, physically, the whole thing, and were able to manage life without being on the medication. For me, I am anticipating that as my life resumes, like returns to some form of normalcy, once my husband goes back to work, once the managing of the stress goes down, I hope that I can come off of it. But I don't know, we'll just see, because I may have mentioned already in this video, but like over time and over the last 5-6 years specifically that we've been back in Canada. I used to live overseas in a really hot and sunny country. I lived in Malaysia for a while. We didn't get that huge seasonal change. And I've noticed that in the last few years, when fall comes, I dip so hard. And I also seem to be dipping deeper every passing year. And it's really awful, actually. Professionally, I get very busy in the winter months, and to be dipping and then have so much responsibility is like it's been so challenging for me the last few years that I'm legitimately so excited that I have this like toolkit of fitness and this medication to prepare me for those dark seasonal months. And like, I'm thinking it's going to be so different for me this fall, and I'm so excited. So I'm out on this evening walk, and you may have noticed if you're quite, aware on Instagram, but I actually haven't really been taking many evening walks with my dogs, which is really strange. Are you getting too hot? She always gets really parched. We're going to take a break in a few minutes, okay? It's going to be great. There's a lot of water on this path. But yeah, I haven't been taking lots of walks, and I think that was just like, I just couldn't handle like that one extra thing. And I feel like my brain is starting to calm down a little bit now that I'm at the 4-week mark of like a full 4 weeks of taking my medication. And it feels like I can handle things like a bit more, like the fog is gone. There's more clarity. When I sit down to work, I just get it done. And I'm like, is the self-doubt gone, or is it just clarity? I don't know what it is, but there's like less fog, more action. I feel really good. And there you have it. That has been my start to current day experience on an SSRI. And I have switched the way I think about it. I look at it like my doctor said, it's a vitamin for your brain. And that, I could like weep tears of joy, because my brain was not producing the right amount of serotonin to keep me at a level that made me feel good. And I honestly feel incredible. I didn't know that people felt like this. And honestly, it's made me question maybe how high functioning of an anxious person I've been my whole life. Like for real. Couple things that have come from this that I've noticed in the last few weeks. One, my symptoms of having an upset stomach in the morning, because I was getting like a loose bowel situation, seems to have resolved itself. It's like my body has adjusted to the dosage. So that no longer seems to be an issue. I also try to eat a breakfast shortly after I have my pill and my morning coffee, because I'm just like a straight start the day with coffee kind of gal. So I try to eat something like quite soon after my coffee to help just like have something in my stomach, which is helping with the upset tummy. The only symptom that's really bothering me at the moment is really vivid dreams. And they're not always great dreams. Occasionally they're like nightmare style or just really intense. And the only way to like explain it is I feel like I'm dreaming in Technicolor. Like everything is so vivid and so real. And so I mentioned this to my doctor, and she had, she doesn't have exact solution, but she had a theory, which I don't exactly disagree with. And it's that I have been living with anxious symptoms for quite some time that have been impacting my sleep. As a result, I've always had trouble falling asleep. If you've followed me for any length of time, I've often spoken about my love of ASMR to help me calm down my brain before I go to bed. I still love it, by the way. Don't have to use it as much though, because I actually just fall asleep at night. What? And my doctor did say that because I'm actually sleeping, I'm probably falling into REM sleep, like a really deep sleep, more than ever before. And chances are I'm potentially waking up mid-REM cycle. I might be getting this a little bit mixed up here because I'm not exactly like a sleep expert, but she was saying that I might be waking up at weird times, like mid-dream. And so everything feels like hyper real, and it's just, basically, it's possible that I have not been actually sleeping that well for years, which I don't disagree with. I mean, I've said for so long that I really need to work on going to bed earlier, but it's like I couldn't calm my mind down at the end of the day. And now, like, I don't work past 9 p.m. I used to work till like 2 a.m. I mean, I don't even know how I did that, to be honest. Like, granted, life has changed where I work daytime hours now. I don't have little children anymore like I used to. So the need to work late at night isn't there anymore. And I try to wind down earlier and get to bed at a reasonable time, like before midnight, which that was like unheard of in my life. Anyway, point is, my dreams are a little freaky. I don't love that, but I also know that my body is still adjusting, that I'm still new to this medication, and that it'll take some time for things to kind of even out. Sex drive is a huge concern for a lot of people. I've noticed a slight decrease, but nothing major. I still ebb and flow with my hormones over the course of the month. I still pounce on my husband regularly. I haven't noticed that be totally impacting or like vanish. Now, I didn't have a low libido to start. I feel like I had a very high libido, so maybe it kind of like balanced me out a little bit. But my doctor did say that should that change, there's solutions to that. So that's not it's not an end game like sex life destroyer to take care of your brain. The other thing a lot of people worry about is weight gain. I haven't noticed that. Now, I am a very active person. I work out probably every day. If you follow me on Instagram at AmandaMuse, you likely see me doing it. I haven't noticed that at all. Weight gain, I feel like it's very seasonal for me. I always get a little thicker in the winter. I don't know. So it hasn't impacted me thus far. I have not noticed that being an issue. But like I said, overall, I feel amazing. I feel like I don't dip like I used to. I still have feelings. I'm not a completely numb zombie. I cry, I laugh, I have wonderful life experiences. I just find like I can have lunch with a friend and not be having a full-blown 8-hour panic attack when I get home. So like life has improved. I'm not a doctor, so if you want to go on a medication, you need to talk to your doctor. The intent of this video was really just to share my experience, that I am feeling better. This is not the solution for everybody, but it's working for me, someone with generalized anxiety. And, you know, for the first time my son is 7. We've been back in Canada for like 6 years now or so. For the first time in nearly 6 years, I am not dreading winter. I feel like I have these tools in my toolkit to support myself and not dip. I mean, ask any of my close friends. I kind of disappear between October and March. It's just like always a really hard time of year for me, and it's been getting progressively worse. And for the first time, I'm not dreading it. I feel ready. I feel good. And, you know, is this medication going to be something I'm on for the rest of my life? I have no idea. But for right now, with the volume of stress that I have personally been experiencing, it's incredible that I feel this great, and I'm not ashamed of it. And I love myself enough to take care of myself. And I wish the same for you. If you are struggling, please reach out to your family doctor. Talk to someone, because you shouldn't have to suffer in silence. It can be very lonely, and I am sending you lots of love. I hope this video helped, and if anything, makes you feel supported if you're in a similar journey, or at least gives you that little nudge to maybe just ask some questions, because it feels good to feel good. And that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.